Hi there and welcome again to the Believable RPG on Verse Online's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that's really at the very heart of world building and RPG design and campaign design and everything. And that's the idea of the core concept. And without a core concept, I do think that your world is going to lack clarity, and I think it's going to lack cohesion, and I think it's not going to make... It won't make no sense, but it's not going to make as much sense as it could do without this one idea, the core concept. Now, some world builders start off, and there's nothing inherently wrong with this, but I just think it makes life more difficult. Some world builders start off with the idea that they can have, you know, a sort of like a smorgasbord, a buffet, a tapas of stuff in their world. They might say, well, I want vampires, definitely. And I want there to be high technology, so like kind of battle mechs, vampires and battle mechs. And then it's got to be on a kind of like a waste planet, sort of like a kind of a Mad Max thing, but in space. I mean, this has got all the ingredients of something really cool. But there's no common thread that binds all these things, no core concept. Why are there vampires and battle mechs on a kind of like a Mad Max planet in space? If you start off leaving the kind of the cosmetic stuff to one side, that you can park for later, and start off with the core concept, which starts often with a kind of like an in the beginning story, a creation story. And then start to allow organically the world to create itself based on the creation story you begin with, or the set of premises that you begin with. You will get a slightly different world from the vampire battle mech space world that you originally envisaged, but you'll get a better one. You'll get one that hangs together, that makes sense because of the organising core concept. So let's, brainstorm one now. Okay. Going roughly in the direction of space as battle mechs and vampires. So if you want to do something in space, is this in the future? Is this in the past, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, for example? Is this in a parallel dimension? Is this in a kind of an imagined a version of now in a different reality? Let's imagine it's in the near future. There is kind of like the Expanse. We've created jump gates to different solar systems, and we're colonizing worlds left, right, and center. And there is a particular one over which a war has been waged, and the battle mechs are used to wage the war. Either with the vampires, it's either going to be something that was originally there. And then you can ask all sorts of big questions. Why were vampires originally there? Was there some other kind of creator god that created things parallel to human beings a long, long time ago, that hunted human beings and have been frozen on this planet for a long time and have awoken? Or is this something that human beings have created? These are some unfortunate genetic experiment. I'd be inclined to go with the first one. It's much more interesting. And the civil war between the battle mechs has to come to an end in order to battle vampires. Okay, so there you have something that can incorporate all those features that begins with a core concept. The core concept is Earth is colonizing space, kind of like in The Expanse. I've just borrowed that one because it's a kind of a complete core concept that we can just kind of pinch for now. And writers of The Expanse, don't sue me. But without it, it's just this kind of bitty sort of collection of odds and ends that doesn't really make any coherent sense. And if you go back and look at some of the previous videos I've done here, when something doesn't make a kind of a sense, then it begins to contradict itself. And the rules that you set out, the rules of believability, suddenly start to kind of crumble. There's a problem as well of having what I call first order, second order, and third order concepts. So let's go back to the idea of the kind of the brainstorming, the vampires, the battle mechs, the planets, and you there might be all sorts of other kind of fun little bits and bobs you want to put in there. You could say, and humans there, they have sound weapons. They have like sound weapons unless that's a kind of related to a core concept. Do they use sound weapons in order to combat the vampires in a particular way, or is this just a bit of technology they've got? And if you haven't answered that question, it means that this is an idea that's loose from the core concept, and therefore it either, when you introduce it, becomes so irrelevant compared to the enormous ideas of human beings being going through dimensional gates and finding new planets and finding vampires on them, that it sort of turns up in your world building and is incongruous, and people go, oh, so what? They've probably got tons of different kinds of technologies. They've probably got rail guns and lasers and other sort of useful kind of things. So once you've got your core concept, which you could almost boil down to a one-liner, your core concept, the one I wrote the other day, is The Stand, but with monsters. Okay, so it's going to be a world kind of like Stephen King's The Stand, but once the super flu has passed, or whatever version I'm going to call it, monsters emerge. These might be creatures that have come from other dimensions, realizing that the world is rich for pickings, or in the world of The Stand, there's a kind of a battle between good and evil, between essentially God and Satan, and that they might be something from some kind of hell. I don't know. I'll figure that out later. But the one-liner is The Stand, but with monsters. And I think it's probably quite a good idea. But anyway, please don't steal it. So see if your core concept, you can boil it down to a one-liner, a sentence, one quick idea. And then from there, you can build, that's your primary concept. Your secondary concepts are the big building blocks. Okay, what is the world? What are the people there? Is there some kind of deity? What's the level of technology? And what are the relations between all these things? And then your tertiary concepts are the stuff. Okay, the sound weapons, the mechs. What kind of things, what distinguishes a human from a vampire? What distinguishes an elf from a troll? What kinds of things do they have? And you don't need to worry about the tertiary concepts for a while, the tier 3 kind of stuff. You can, if you wanted to have, vampires that are cybernetically enhanced. Okay, so that goes in your secondary concept. Okay, primary concept, human beings have gone through dimensional gates of colonizing space, and they've discovered a planet with vampires. This idea is getting really good, by the way, and I wonder if anyone wants to borrow this idea and run with it, fine, put your comments below. And the secondary concept might be a bit about, the vampires have cyber technology. Okay, that will lead you off to tertiary and quaternary concepts of like, well, how did they get cyber technology? Who gave it to them? Don't worry about those yet. The answers there will come. Often people are in such a rush to go into micro detail that they suddenly get hugely sidetracked away from the core concept itself. And this is where, note-taking comes into its own. You can take notes and park them for the future. So this is a concept not for now. One of my world building kind of little habits is to divide a sheet of paper into a now, for now, not for now, and no. Okay, so when I'm writing my core concept, that's what I'm doing for now. Okay. Anything else that comes up, like, what if I had an elf with a railgun? Yeah, that's great, but we'll park it. So that goes in not for now. But it doesn't mean to say we're going to get rid of it. And anything, really that just doesn't work, we put in the no column. Even if you have the idea and dismiss it, just put it in the no column, because it actually shows you here's what the world is not going to be. And you need that too. You need to know what your world isn't, which is something, a topic of hopefully the next video. You need to be able to define the world by what it isn't, because people will ask you, oh, so it's like a steampunk thing. Well, not really. Oh, so it's like medieval high fantasy. Well, kind of and kind of not. Oh, so it's like sci-fi. No, it's definitely not that. And then when you're collaborating with people, they understand the parameters. And I do hope you do collaborate with people, because this is where your ideas get much, much better and really kind of evolve. But they'll understand the parameters of what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do, and why you're trying to do it. So get that core concept nailed. It can just take one line. It can just be a one-liner, and often that's the best way. And then allow your secondary and your tertiary concepts to flow from there. I hope you find this useful, and I'll catch you on the next Believable RPG video. Thanks. Remember to subscribe. Remember to give us a like, give us a share, do all the things. I'll put all the links below. Check us out on our website and blog and all the stuff. Again, and our Patreon, all the links below. And find out what we're doing with the Arcverse. Finally, we're going to be at Dragonmeet this year in the Hammersmith Novotel, 4th of December. Come and meet us there. It would be great to see you. Take good care. Bye-bye.